Good morning. It's Sunday, June 7th, 2020, and we're talking about being faithful or staying faithful to God in our devotions this morning based on Deuteronomy 30. And my thoughts this morning were, how do we know that we have chosen God? And this is a situation where we uh, are professing faith in God. We are uh, following the conditions, and the covenant with Christ is a conditional covenant. How do we know? And when we look at this passage this morning, there were three things which are essentially one thing. Three things which uh, identify the Israelite who is uh, part of the covenant. One, he loves God. He cares about him. He cares about his heavenly Father. How do we judge that? Well, the other things are pretty good indicators. Secondly, he obeys God. She obeys her heavenly Father. The things that God says to do, she does. The things that God says not to do, he doesn't do. That is an indicator that you have become part of the covenant. And third, and finally, uh, faithfulness. He is faithful to God. That's how you know that you are following the conditions of the covenant. It's conditionalism, folks. Uh, these are conditional covenants. And God calls sky and land as witnesses to see whether these people who claim to be God's people are living up to the conditions of the covenant that they signed up for. And what difference is it now in this day and age under the covenant with Christ? We still have a heavenly Father that we have to love. Jesus said the greatest commandment was to love God with all your heart, soul, and mind and strength. And the second, like itself, love your neighbor as like yourself. And then he said, then we also have things to obey, and Jesus gives us a long list of commands, and he expects us to obey them and expects us to teach others to obey them too. That's part of the Great Commission. We are to make disciples, teaching them to obey everything that he has commanded us. And then being faithful. Jesus said, how can you call me Lord, Lord, and not do the things that I'm telling you to do? That the uh, uh, indicator that one has faith is faithfulness. Some things to think about this morning as we continue to just try to live the life that God has called us to. Have a great day.